they went up and asked Will Smith if he wanted to leave, and he said no. And I feel like, they had to make a move, so that feels like makes sense.
Yeah.
Else you hit someone, even if you're on The Bachelor and you hit someone, I'm sure they yank you off the island, So there's definitely something happens. So I don't know. I think it was. It's troubling because I think they're friends, and I think Will has my friends think it was set up.
Hey,
But Will's not going to ruin his career for a joke that never paid off,
It's just beautiful that it's over and we can laugh about it.
Looks like the famous slap drama is back in season. Even after 1 year, Chris Rock's friend, David Spade, is holding punches no more. Spade has no problem in calling a spade a spade. David called Will Smith out for not leaving the show after he was asked to do so by the management. He suggested that Will must be punished for his outrageous behavior on the international stage. This is some hot tea, guys, and here we are with all the deets to share with you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Well, David Spade was recently in an interview with Mike Tyson, verbally crushing Will Smith. In the podcast, Hot Boxin', Mike asked his opinion on the infamous slap. Mike prodded David, asking if Chris had decided to file some lawsuits in the near future. Well, unsurprisingly, David alluded that there are many chances that he will resort to the law. Even though Chris did not want his fellow actor and ex-friend in trouble, he still will not accept any disrespect from anyone. And on an international stage at that. David's anger at Chris's humiliation on live television is understandable. Mike, also being a celebrity, resonates with him. He suggested that Chris should also sue the organization for taking the incident too lightly, because they are partly at fault for allowing such a despicable thing to happen. The fans are outraged by Academy's irresponsibility over the incident. Hope he sues to hell out of the Academy because they handled that very unprofessionally, leaving Chris all on his own with no support, which I think would have hurt the most. Will should have been bounced out the door on his head. Chris did such a great as the show must go on. You're the man. You're the man, Chris. It looks like unruly behavior is not that uncommon in the celebrity world. David explained that he had witnessed a similar scene when a person was acting out, but the celebrity dealt with him maturely. The incident he spoke of was when the Princess of Wales was disciplining her child, Prince Louis, at the Platinum Jubilee event. Spade thought out loud that he wished that the royal would slap the child for his misconduct. Well, to be clear, he wanted this fictitious scenario to become a reality so that Chris would have a little moment of peace out of the spotlight. The bizarre comparison is quite appropriate if we think about it. Will Smith, being more than half a century old, was acting like a child when he decided to slap the comedian for saying a joke. Even though it was quite surprising for the audience, it was tenfold more so for Chris himself. Dave explained that Chris genuinely expected Will to joke around when he saw Will walking towards him.
Since they're good friends, it was understandable that David was going to stand up for Chris in the entire Slapgate drama.
But Chris, being the professional, was quick to think and managed to keep the situation under control. He joked about his immediate assault to keep things on the lighter note. The public wholeheartedly supports Chris for his admirable behavior. They believe that even if Will got sensitive about the joke, he should have handled it backstage. I'm with Chris. He's a comedian. Made a joke. Will got sensitive and angry selectively, lol. Will should have made a joke to him or handle it backstage. It was supposed to be everyone's night to shine and have a good time. But he took over the spotlight with that slap. Aside from Mike, David also believes that the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences did not take appropriate actions to deal with the situation. They basically asked if Will Smith wanted to go. Well, you do not ask an assailant, you escort them out.
Of course, that never really happened. He said,
Her kid is like 3, is being kind of a, making faces and telling.
We know that if it was not Will and anybody else doing as they please, the outcome would have been completely different. Moreover, the public believes that the Academy did play a biased role in allowing Will to stay in the show after Will had swung a good one at Chris. What Smith did was unforgivable. He humiliated a comedian in front of the world, and Chris merely did his job. And what the Academy did after that by allowing Smith to stay on was absolutely disgusting. But to save themselves from any further negative attention from the public, the Board of Governors of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences held a special meeting, during which it was decided to ban Will Smith from returning to the Oscars or attending any other Academy events for the next 10 years. An insider from the music branch, Carl Connor, believes that the punishment is quite adequate. He's not going to be able to present next year, and I think hooray for that. I don't think he should be allowed on the Academy stage. What he did on the world stage was unacceptable. 10 years is an important round number. I don't think it should have been 1 year or 5 years. 10 is appropriate. But the most controversial thing David said was to accuse Will that it was scripted on Will's part. He even added that even his friends believed that the incident was fake, and to play his part faithfully, Will did apologize profusely to Chris after his career hit a full stop due to all the negative attention. Will Smith gave a written apology on social media saying, "I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris," he continued. "I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. It does not matter if the incident was fake or real because the impact in the industry was very much real. And it was only Chris's quick thinking that saved the show. Even the directors appreciate it." Even though Will's career took a huge hit after the Oscars, Chris's new scandal has got him in a pretty bad position himself. In his new Netflix stand-up special Selective Outrage on Saturday night, had moments that felt as emotional, messy, and fierce. It was the least rehearsed, most riveting material in an uneven hour. Near the end, Rock even botched a key part of one joke, getting a title of a movie wrong. Normally, such an error would have been edited out, but since this was the first live global event in the history of Netflix, Rock could only stop, call attention to it, and tell the joke again. It messed up his momentum, but the trade-off might have been worth it since the flub added an electric spontaneity and unpredictability that was a drawing card.
I don't think he wants to feel like you're ratting someone out.
But Mike Tyson piped up.
He doesn't even have to sue Will. He can just sue the
Rock is one of our greatest stand-ups, a perfectionist whose material, once it appeared in a special, always displayed a meticulous sense of control. He lost it here, purposely flashing anger as he insulted Smith. He described his experience after the incident saying,
"Y'all know what happened to me, getting smacked by Suge Smith, and people like, did it hurt? It still hurts. I got summertime ringing in my ears."
Well, despite the recent controversy, people are more focused on the first one, especially after David's recent interview. In a paparazzi interview, Spade addressed the banishment of Will Smith from the Oscars awards. However, the comedian is still skeptical if it really is a punishment. The fans believe that this is the most organic response they have received on the subject. David Spade is a GOAT, and this is easily the best answer I've heard any celeb give on this subject. He managed to be funny without making fun of either Will or Chris, and he didn't fake outrage or try to make it about himself. Take notes. Another important issue that David Spade addressed on Mike's podcast was the cancel culture trending in the industry. He said that he was worried about how today's public will perceive his jokes. "Well, I just know that that's the way it is. I think he took himself out of the host job trying to salvage his career. I mean, it just unraveled. I worry about my last stand-up set. I try to do stuff that's a little rough around the edges." Spade also went on to say that comedians who make jokes will never be safe because people are always looking back at past comments they've made. The hard part is if any good luck happens to anyone, there's a team of people digging through their life to make sure they take them down, and that's the hard part. Who's doing that? Who has time? Who cares enough? That's a tough life. You dig under anybody in the world, you find something. That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.